Welcome everybody to episode 2. Unfortunately, it's not going to involve the nacelle repair for the Into Darkness Enterprise for my client. This is because there was a big miscommunication between myself and William Mann over at Cutting Edge Electronic Controls. I was unaware that the contra motor assembly was able to be dismantled and that the motor by itself could actually be replaced. I thought that once it was fully assembled, it couldn't be disassembled, and therefore you had to toss it when it died. So instead of sending me a full assembly, he just sent me a replacement motor. But not all is lost. He and I have cleared everything up, so he's building me a new assembly. I should hopefully have that within the next week, and then we can get started on that repair. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and start on the preparation of the Enterprise E, which is a 1/1000 Titan Models kit. And of course those are not around anymore, so this is going to be a very special build, with it being extremely rare. Also, we're going to get started on the preparation of the 2009 version Enterprise, which that will be more screen correct, because that's how my other client wants it done. So, I guess we'll go ahead and just jump right in. Alright, now here's the model. This is it! Done! No, I'm just kidding. Now, actually, all these parts I washed last night and got them super clean. So now they are ready to be prepped. It's a rather large model, which is pretty cool. Not too many pieces to it, so it should be a rather fast assembly. The part that'll take a long time is actually going to be all the details, because there is a large amount of photo etch that was custom made for this specific kit through Paul over at Paragraphics. I also would like to give a shout out to William Mann as well, because he originally, when we were in our former business together as partners, he started to actually do the baseline for the photo etch parts. So because of that, we were able to get a more precise measurement on all of our photo etch parts, thanks to his work that he put into it. Now, here we are with all these parts. Let's see if I can get more of it in here. And there we go. So this is all the real small parts in the bag here. Everything from the bridge to the I guess would be the B deck and all that stuff. So I guess I'll go ahead and start sanding and cleaning all this up. Okay, so we are making progress. There's a ton of work that has to be done, especially with garage kits. And especially during the time that this was made, garage kits were pretty rough at the time, so you have to do a lot of shaping and lots of sanding and just really refining everything. For example, up here on the very top edge, I had to go in and smooth this out and make it look more even, because it had this nasty little dip in here, and so I just kind of reshaped that section. All along the sides, I got these all nice and smooth. Had to reshape, reshape right in these little grooves here. Lots of work had to go into the lips on this piece here, and you can see it. There's a lot of imperfections. There's a big old gnarly bubble that was in there. Same with this side as well. I mean, just both sides have more work to do. I cleaned up the upper part of the garage. I still need to go into the groove there and clean that out more. And then right now I am just kind of shaping these, because it's just these big globs of resin excuse me, that they used. Then I got all the epoxy whatever it is that they use there to kind of put everything together. So I have a lot of shaping to do so that way I can get the lighting to be nice and even when I go to install everything. So that's where I'm at right now. I will go ahead and just keep. Alright, so sorry if it sounds a little noisy. I got the air conditioning on and also the air purifier on, and that's on a higher mode, so it's a little noisy here. Figure with all the dust and stuff going on, I want to do that. This is what's going on here. You see the big difference between the two sides and what's clear and what's not. This side over here, got all that smoothed out, all hand sanded that. And then I have the other side here I have to do, which is not so clean, as you can see there. So, definitely a big difference. Got lots more work to do. Okay, so we've made even more progress. In case all of you are wondering why everything is needing to be so smooth and nice on the bottom, it has to do with adhesion. There's going to be a lot of lighting added to it and stuff, so we want to make sure all the wires, all the LEDs, all those things adhere properly and stay in place. When you have a slick surface, sometimes the adhesive doesn't seep in or grab properly, so it can cause stuff to come loose. Also, it just looks nice, and that's what I prefer, is things to look nice. So here it is. Remember it from before. That's looking like a really nice clean mold now on the underside. I still have all this I need to clean out though. And yeah, so alright everyone, so finally got the upper saucer section completed. And this is the top part. I got this all cleaned up. Right in here where the I guess you would say B-deck goes and everything. This was so off-center that I decided to sand all this out from the grooves and just make that smooth, and then I'll just eyeball it and line it up that way. On the underside there was a ton of work that had to be done. As you can see here, it is now very, very clean. Looks really good. Looks just like a plastic mold now. It's real smooth, real clean. And we are now ready to go ahead and move on to the next part. And that is going to be working with the hull section and getting that all cleaned up. Okay, so we are on another day. What was supposed to take, normally about 15-20 minutes to clean something up ended up being an all-day event. As you saw, things got really messy. There was so much dust that I had to deep clean the shop so that way I could keep all the dust to a minimum after I completed this upper saucer. It was probably one of the worst resin things that I've come across in a long time. But now it actually is looking like a real high quality mold. Everything is looking beautiful underneath. I just have all kinds of little things that I have to work on, such as, let's see if I can try and get this on camera here. Come on. There we go. You can see it. There's some pitting that's going on and some gnarly corner bubbles here that I have to fill and shape and just basically resculpt. There's all kinds of little dimples throughout. You can see right here that there's one. There's a couple up in some pretty bad spots to have them at that are pretty noticeable. Also, there is a nice little hole right in here that needs to get fixed. This part I'm going to leave as a solid piece, but I might actually very carefully go in because of how dense this resin is. There's going to be a phaser array installed here that's going to cover pretty much this whole area, and it's going to be pretty remarkable when it's installed and done. However, I'm worried that the actual phaser part of it is not going to be noticeable because it's really thick resin right here. So what I might do is actually very carefully cut all this out and find some fiber optic, or I guess it's like a flex light tube or something like that, that's like solid, that I'll replace this with at the same thickness, and then that way I know for a fact that it's going to be shown right through, because I will want to airbrush a light amount of paint on it to give it that gray color. So that is pretty much what's going on with this bottom piece. I'm going to actually go back and do all the little stuff later. So now we are going to be focusing on the lower saucer section, which there's still a lot of cleaning out that has to be done. Amazingly, there's no noticeable bubbles anywhere in it. There's like a couple pits and chips on the underside of it, well, the inside of it, but everything on the exterior actually is in really good shape, so I'm very happy about that. So that means a lot less work has to be done. Again, the edges will have to get cleaned up. I'm gonna have to saw this little piece out here. I don't want to try and break it off because then it could spider right into the rest of it, and you know, when you spider something, it fractures it, makes it weaker. You don't want to do that. But this shouldn't take very long. This looks like an overall well done piece. Very happy that this came out pretty good. Alright, so they cleaned up really well. Looks really good. Got that all sawed off and looking really clean. All the edges are nice and clean now. So that's looking good. There was some sanding I had to do in this area because I ended up finding globules right in here, so I got all that cleaned up. Not too bad on this side. This was actually pretty clean. So I guess we can go ahead and jump on to the next part. Also, in case you were wondering why I sanded all this in, is because with resin especially, you want to make sure that you have some kind of a roughness, so that way when you adhere things, it'll actually grip to it. Same within here, I did that as well. It also is really good for distributing light as well. That way when I insert the LEDs, it'll kind of help diffuse them and spread the light out more evenly. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part of it, and I believe that we will be working on the hull now. Okay, so the hull is going to be pretty straightforward. Not a huge amount of cleaning up that needs to be done. I'm going to be cutting this part out right here. I'm planning on inserting shuttle bait for this. So that way there's more detail, and it'll be a lot more fun to look at when the whole project's done. Looks like I just gotta kind of clear this out. Nothing real major. This piece was actually done pretty well. We got some flesh right here to clean up. We got a little bit in the grooves here to kind of get some of the globules out. Overall though, it's pretty good. Take a look on this side. This one has some more cleaning up that's got to be done overall. Got some globules here that need to be taken care of, but yeah, not too bad. Okay, so right now I am working on the fitment of the hull section. Right now I've been doing a lot of sanding and just cleaning up, and you can see kind of how there's all these gaps and stuff in here. So I am just kind of cleaning that up, bringing it closer together, and then I'm testing the upper sections to it to make sure that it's not getting too tight on them. So this way everything will be a real nice smooth transition when I go to assemble everything. But again, these garage kits, they require a ton of work just to get them to fit and have everything come together smoothly. So I'm going to continue on, going to keep working. Alright, so a lot of work has been done. Still a lot more to do. I've been slowly shaving this section down, which is the aft part of the saucer on the upper part, just below where the main shuttle bay is and everything. So just having to shape this and really work it out. It was way oversized for the part. It wasn't cast properly. It was off center. So I'm really just focusing on fixing this up. I have to bring in these edges more so that it'll fit more properly with the hull section. Speaking of the hull section, I'm getting it closer to where it needs to be. Get this kind of put together here. So you don't want to have to be forcing parts when you're assembling it. So you take a look. All of the pieces are starting to come together more smoothly. They're starting to all touch, but there's still a ways to go. You can see the gap right here. That's got to come in. There's also some more gaps over here in the back, so you want to bring that in more. And then also the underside of the model is going to have to be sanded and shaped. So actually, when I said, hey, you know what, this won't take that long for the hull section, I kind of spoke a little too soon. So work continues on. Yeah. All right, we are making some really good progress. Before, this thing was not fitting hardly at all. There was massive gaps, and I've just been really shaping the inside. You can see how much better it's lining up, and it's just going to assemble so much easier. Again, when you're working with these garage kits and stuff, you don't want to be forcing parts together. You want things to come together as smoothly as possible, and especially with this kit, considering that it's probably the only one out there. So if something goes wrong, I'm in big trouble. So anyways, I thought I'd go ahead and kind of show what's going on here. That's starting to fit better, but it's still causing a gap. So again, I'm having to focus on these corners here and really shave them inward more, so that way when I put this in place, it doesn't gap. So it's really important that I get this piece right, so that one, the angle looks correct, and also two, that it sits in there, that it's not being forced in or anything like that. So again, you want everything coming together real smoothly, really easily, just so it all marries well. Okay, continuing on. All right, so we got the very most important piece lined up and sitting where it should be in the secondary hull, and it just slides right in place. It is an absolute beautiful fit. It's going to require very little putty work on it. Let's try and move this piece of tape out of the way there. Oops. And you can see it's got a good angle going on with it, as it should. But yeah, it's just absolute beautiful fit. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next parts of the ship and get those all prepped and sanded. Alright, so we got the pylons done. Got them real cleaned up. I cut all the wires and stuff that were coming out of it. One, they were too short to feasibly be able to solder stuff and get them covered so that they don't short out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do a little bit of surgery and put some grooves in and go from there with some of my own wiring to take care of that. But yeah, they're come out real clean, looking real good. So there are no sort of flash marks anywhere on it, so it's super cleaned up. Both sides are looking fantastic. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at right now. Now it's time for me to move on to the nacelles, so here we go. Alright, so all the major sanding and reshaping and sculpting and all that stuff has been completed. The last part that I had to really do was just the nacelles. I got them looking really good. They're nice and flush and even and really clean. So these actually didn't require a whole lot of work, which was nice. So you can see I have them nicely shaped on the fronts. So those are all ready to go on the tops. The bottoms were pretty easy clean up too. So those are looking really good now. Got that all nicely shaped up. They're looking really beautiful. There is a pinhole here that I got to repair and fill that. But like I said, it's just all the small things now that I have to do, like what I was just showing you with the pinholes and bubbles, things of that nature. But all that is going to be on the next episode. I'm sure this video is starting to run kind of long now, and I don't think you guys want to see me rambling on and on and on. So next episode I'm planning on covering how I'm going to do the wiring and all that. I'll probably show everything that's ultra cleaned up after everything's filled and stuff too. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let all of you go. I hope to talk to you all very soon. Sorry, it's been a long day. Anyways, catch you later.